But what is your sense here in terms of A, the underlying problem, and B, the way he's trying to attack it?
In terms of spending $1.5 trillion, I can think of about 50 ways that would be better to spend it than forgiving debt, much of it for graduate students, much of it for people with high earnings, all of it for people whom already went to college. So I don't think this is a high priority policy idea at all.
And the idea just in general of raising revenue through taxing transactions, do you think that that has any currency, so to speak?
I don't mind that idea. I think a modest financial transaction tax, you have one in place in Hong Kong. It's not like the financial markets have moved out of Hong Kong as a result of that. You're not going to raise nearly what Bernie Sanders says you're going to raise from it. You're going to raise less, but as a way to tax an activity to raise some money in a progressive manner, I think it's fine and worth seriously considering.
What's wrong with it, Grover?
The tax idea? First of all, people will
Wall
work
Street
to
transactions tax.
Won't raise what they say they're going to, so you just end up increasing debt. The challenge here is that if you cancel all this debt, well, why not all the debt that farmers have? Farmers have hundreds of billions of dollars of debt to the federal government. The federal government's loaned a bunch of money to other people. The clamor to get this done for many other structures and situations is going to be overwhelming. You also have it's an interesting one. Usually Bernie Sanders doesn't like the 1% or high-income people, but this is a significant transfer of wealth from people who don't go to college to people who've already gone to college. You're paying for something that already happened, so there's no incentive effects at all in terms of people's behavior. But it doesn't get to the problem. College costs too much and doesn't do a very good job of preparing people for jobs. People don't whine about the loan they have for their home because their home is worth having. Their home, you could sell it if you wanted to. It's a thing of value. You can go to a number of colleges in this country and take all the courses and pass and not have a skill that makes enough money to pay back the debt and all the money you spent for colleges. In the last 25 years, they've increased the number of bureaucrats. They've doubled the number of bureaucrats at universities. That's not teachers. And when you're spending $300,000 on Elizabeth Warren teaching banking, when there are hundreds of actual banking lawyers and experts on banking who would fly to Harvard every week for free to teach a course, not take $300,000 out of the pockets of students.
Yeah, I mean, Jason, that does seem to be what's missing here, which is it doesn't give any incentives for colleges to make tuition more affordable or to make people graduate.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to defend my vested interest here. You look, the typical student loan is about $30,000. The value of a college degree is about $500,000. For most people, this is a fantastic investment. They're getting a lot out of going to college in terms of higher earnings over the course of a lifetime. There is a significant minority that has a hard time paying back their student debts. I think we should be focused on them with systems like debt forgiveness for people whose incomes don't work out. I think there's a big problem in the for-profit sector where you have really high tuition and really bad outcomes, and regulating that sector, I think, is important too. But I think we shouldn't mistake that for sort of the typical person at the typical, let's say, state school, community college, even private university like what I teach at, you get a good return on those degrees. And those Elizabeth Warren law students, they did perfectly well, even net of their tuition.
Okay, but why waste $300,000? Why have twice the number of bureaucrats? The fact that you haven't collapsed.
Wait, the waste of $300,000 is her salary? Is that what you're saying, Grover? Is that what she was paid?
That's a salary. I mean, it's a competitive salary.
How many hours a week did she work?
Who are all these people who are going to get on planes and fly to a different college every week? I mean, that doesn't sound particularly realistic. Maybe you know a bunch of them. I don't.
Okay. There are enough banking
you want to get a good faculty member, you have to pay a competitive salary. In areas like law and economics, where people have higher outside options, you have to end up paying them more. But I'm not really worried about Harvard law students and how they do in life. I think we do want to worry about people at some of the fly-by-night for-profits that churn out degree after degree, advertise in the subway, take people's money, leave them in debt. I think that's the segment we should be worried about, not this ad hominem against, Professor Warren for some reason.
Well, her salary just got a lot of attention, and how she got the job got a lot of attention. But if you're talking about people who work a few hours a week teaching, getting $300,000 a year, and then you say, why is college so expensive, or why are universities so expensive? That's one reason. And the bureaucrats, however much you're paying them, don't add value. Why did it get doubled in the last 25 years? There's a great deal of waste, and then the federal government puts a series of regulations on every one of these colleges, and a lot of those bureaucrats are to figure out what the government regulations are trying to do. Let's drop the unnecessary costs of university and college instead of subsidizing past mistakes or failures. And all that will do is encourage all the colleges to go out and charge more money. Harvard has billions of dollars they don't need to charge anything to send kids to school because they've got billions that they've saved over the years. I don't know why you call it a nonprofit. They seem to have made a great deal of profits in their endowment.
Well, they are, to be fair, they are needs blind, I believe. I mean, they do offer aid to anyone, full aid to anyone who actually qualifies at many of these schools that you're citing, Grover.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why Harvard Law School or Harvard Business School should be free when their graduates do quite well. Similarly, I don't know why we should forgive the student debt of people that went to graduate school, people in high income brackets. I think we want to focus on getting more people into college, making it more affordable for them, and making sure the education they have is valuable. In a lot of cases, that does work already.